Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Nintendo Switch 2 stuff with the ever-controversial MIG Flash. And MIG Flash just got a brand new update here to say it's compatible with the Switch 2 now. Now, for those who may be unaware, the MIG Switch, now known as the MIG Flash, is a flash cart designed for the Nintendo Switch. It's got a microSD card slot on it, and that microSD card can hold a bunch of different games. Is this thing legal? Probably not. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. Anyways, just a few weeks ago, there were some rumors going around of the MIG Flash bricking Switch 2s. Some people reportedly had a MIG Flash, they stuck it into a Switch 2, and it caused the Switch 2 to boot loop and essentially become a brick. And then we saw some videos of some people with a MIG Flash inserting it into a Switch 2, and it worked. It just wouldn't load any games. And we reported on all of that stuff. Anyways, there were some reports out there that the MIG Flash team was saying that the MIG Flash worked absolutely fine on the Switch 2, which doesn't seem to be the case here because they've released brand new firmware to make the MIG Flash work on the Switch 2. So the MIG Flash team says firmware 1.2.0 adds support for Switch 1 games on Nintendo Switch 2 consoles. And I've seen a few videos online of people using their MIG Flash on a Nintendo Switch 2 and the games seem to be loading up. I haven't seen any videos where that's not the case yet, so I'm assuming here that this update makes the MIG Flash work on the Switch 2. I've got no idea about Switch 2 games on the MIG Flash. I've got no idea about Switch 2 enhanced games on the MIG Flash. I'm assuming we're going to know more as people test this stuff out. And speaking about the Switch 2 and hardware, next up we're talking about Switch 2 Joycons. And it's being reported here, I don't have a Switch 2 to test this one out, but Switch 2 automatically disables rumble after prolonged use, and there are some speculations as to why that may happen. Now, I've seen 3 top theories on this matter, and I don't know if any of them are correct. Maybe it's a combination of all of them. Maybe one specific one is correct, or maybe none of them are correct and it's something completely different. These are just theories. I haven't seen anything official from Nintendo just yet. The first theory here is that rumble is turned off to prevent overheating and damage to the rumble mechanism within the Joy-Con. The second theory is it's to prevent health issues from constant vibration to the hands. And the third theory is it's to prevent battery drainage. Interestingly here, this feature doesn't seem to be present on the original Nintendo Switch. If you have some theories, let me know them in the comments below. And speaking about the Nintendo Switch 2 and durability, next up we're talking about jerry-rig everything. And there's a very interesting video I do recommend checking out whether or not you're interested in the Switch 2 durability. I think the video itself is just very entertaining. Jerry takes a wrench to the frickin' Nintendo Switch 2. It does very well. It seems to be pretty durable, at least the screen. Now, I don't know about you, but I think Nintendo did a pretty good job designing the Switch 2 screen to withstand wrench impacts. Zach from Jerry Rig Everything did a really good job, I think, tearing down the Switch 2 and really checking out its durability. I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of children with a Switch 2, and this may inspire some confidence if you were thinking about picking one up. Overall, it's just, I don't know about you, I love these videos. Next up, we're still talking about the Switch 2, but shifting from hardware to software and talking about Switch 2 emulation. Now, I've been asked a bunch about this one so far, and my answer is I don't think this is real, and I don't think we're going to have a Switch 2 emulator very soon at all. Anyways, there's a brand new emulator out there, well, at least a repository. There's no emulator just yet, and it's called Pound, and it's for the Switch 2. Antique, the person behind Sudachi, says, looking at the repository, the ARM directory contains a CPU.h header file with some very basic code. Something similar to what I've written for a PS1 emulator countless times. Under the F5 directory, it's basically a copy and paste of the Yuzu code and everything else is blank. Now, I have seen a number of people out there claim that Switch 2 emulation is going to be simple, straightforward, easy, and really quick because the Switch 1 and Switch 2 share similar architectures. And I would say that may not necessarily be the case for a number of different reasons. The biggest one being the original development team for Yuzu and Ryujinx no longer work on those emulators. And in the Switch emulation space, I personally haven't seen a whole lot of advancement since those development teams stepped away and other people have picked up the project. Now, some people may disagree with me on that one, and that's absolutely fine. I mean, yes, I've seen some changes to the UI and features and settings, but I haven't seen any major changes, any major breakthroughs with the actual core of the emulation piece. And that's the part that I think is going to be the most troubling here. I mean, I haven't seen any major developments in terms of overall emulation accuracy or performance or anything, aside from adding hacks or whatnot, to the actual core of the emulator since the Ryujinx and Yuzu team stepped away. And for someone to be able to adapt that to the Switch 2 and make more improvements to it, I think will pose a bigger challenge than maybe perceived. But who knows here? Stranger things have happened. Maybe I've got a hot take and maybe you don't agree with me. And if you don't, or even if you do, let me know in the comments below. I would say though, looking at this post, the age shouldn't really be a factor in the overall skill of the developer. And I'll say that because the team behind Skyline was incredibly young, at least in my opinion, and incredibly smart and incredibly talented. And they've gone on to do some very impressive things overall and continue to do impressive things. So to kind of recap here, for Switch 2 emulation, I do not expect anything anytime soon. And if anything does pop up, I expect Nintendo to be on that extremely quickly. We'll have to wait and see here, but let me know your thoughts about when Switch 2 emulation may come around, if ever. And speaking about emulation, next up we're talking about jgenesis. And jgenesis here just got a brand new update. For those who are unaware, this is a cross-platform multi-console emulator supporting a number of 8-bit and 16-bit gaming consoles, like the Genesis Mega Drive, Sega CD, Mega CD, Sega 32X or Mega 32X, Sega Master System, Game Gear, NES, SNES, and Game Boy Color. So at the time of filming, version 0.10.0 is the latest update for jgenesis. And in this update, we've got a bunch of bug fixes and some improved performance. They've significantly improved performance for Genesis and Sega CD, and to a lesser extent, the 32X. On top of that, for the Genesis here, CRAM dots are now emulated. There's new audio improvements and enhancements. They've added an audio option to mute all emulator audio output. They've added an option to configure the initial window size when not running in full screen. And they've added a new file menu button and hotkey to quickly open the most recently opened ROM. This changelog is pretty huge, and if you wanted to go through the entire thing and read more about it, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. I mean, there's stuff in here for pretty much every single system this emulator emulates. And speaking about emulators emulating things, next up we're talking about PlayStation Portable emulation with PPSSPP. We talked about version 1.19, and now we're talking about version 1.19.2, which just dropped. If you wanted to learn what was changed in version 1.19, I recommend checking out a previous video we did on this channel, or just checking out the changelog here where everything is listed. In version 1.19.2, there's a whole bunch of bug fixes here and a lot of stuff surrounding saves. And if you are using PPSSPP and you've been encountering issues with 1.19, check out 1.19.2. And speaking about updates, next up we're talking about Mario Builder 64. If you're a fan of Mario Maker and you're a fan of Mario 64, you may be a fan of Mario Builder 64. This is a fan-made project and it just got an update here to version 1.1. which has a bunch of bug fixes and some brand new features. For more information, I recommend checking out this brand new YouTube video, but in terms of the changelog here, it seems they've increased the vertex limit from 40,000 to 50,000. They've doubled the tile limit from 10,000 to 20,000. They've optimized vertex generation by up to 25%. There's new boundary types, new objects, for example, an on-off conveyor. There's a new object like a star trigger, and even more. There is quite a bit here, and it seems you can even play this one online and check out others' levels. Based on everything I'm seeing here, this seems to be an incredibly huge update, and the mod is up over on romhacking.com. All of the links are in the description of this video here. And again, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom if you wanted to check out this video and I guess see this ROM hack in action. And speaking about retro games, next up we're talking about retro games on Android and iOS from Sega. And it seems as if Sega is ending support for a bunch of different games here, but there may be a silver lining. So this is the message that's popping up with specific games. Support for this game will be discontinued, but you can continue playing offline. If you'd like to learn more about great Sega games to play, please click the link below. And this warning is popping up, or this announcement is popping up on a bunch of different games. So someone obviously noticed this one and posted it on Reddit, and here is the silver lining, and it's right in the title. Sega is discontinuing support for the retro games, and these formerly paid games are currently playable for free without any ads or in-app purchases. And it includes a whole bunch of different games here like Crazy Taxi Classic, Streets of Rage Classic, Streets of Rage 2 Classic, Sonic CD Classic, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2, Virtual Tennis Challenge, Shining Force Classics, Golden Axe Classics, and Super Monkey Ball Sakura. From my understanding, these games cost about $2 each, or I think $1.99 to be specific. But if you're interested in seeing if you can pick them up for free, check out this Reddit post, which has links to every single game on both platforms, iOS and Android. Unfortunately, I've got no idea how long these games are going to be available for, and I've got no idea how long they're going to work on iOS and Android without issues. But I'm assuming once they're in your library, they can be re-downloaded without issue. And speaking about stuff on Reddit, next up we're talking about MindsEye, which someone has reportedly already found on clearance for $20. And that, in my opinion, is not very good at all. I mean, this game just released and has received a whole bunch of criticism, but being marked down to $20 already is just astonishing. Now, I have no idea if this is real or fake. I want to say it's fake, but at the same time here, I mean, we've seen stranger things from Walmart. This is reportedly from Walmart. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and if you've seen this on sale in other places, or if this is just one Walmart. I think this is just localized to one Walmart. Well, I'll have to wait and see if other places put it on sale too. And speaking about heads up on stuff, last up here we're talking about Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox Series X and S. And there appear to be some pretty serious issues with optimization of this game. I recommend checking out the Digital Foundry video here for more information on the matter and a side-by-side view with the Xbox Series X and S compared against the PS5. It seems in graphics settings the PS5 is running at 1440p, where the Xbox is running at 1224p. And on top of that, in performance mode or frame rate mode, the Xbox is running at 720p, where the PS5 is running at 1080p. The Xbox does hit consistently 60 frames per second, though, where it seems the PS5 struggles. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm very curious to see how Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox and PlayStation progresses as time goes on. Is the game going to be optimized further? Is the game going to receive patches? And if it does receive patches, is performance going to be comparable between both consoles? Or is there still going to be differences in stuff like resolution and frame rates? Let me know your thoughts about that one. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff, except the legendary One Fluff, who's decided to grace us with her appearance. We've talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your estate.